Hey guys, it's TMR Media. I'm coming at you with episode 2 of the TMR Media podcast. This one is going to be about how to grow an automotive photography business. So I'm going to start off by kind of telling you how I began and how I started in my photography journey. So to start off, I had a really slow start. I just kind of was interested in cars. I was always at car meets and I love taking pictures of cars, but it was different. I pretty much just had a desire for cars, and just I liked taking pictures of them on my iPhone I had at the time. I don't even know what it was, maybe a iPhone 10. I don't even know, honestly. It was 4.5, 5 years ago now, so quite a minute ago. But I was just taking pictures of my Ford Focus ST I had at the time, and they were nothing good. I messed around with my buddy and took some pictures at parking garages and stuff, nothing crazy. And I actually I'll go ahead and I'll delve into the story of how I got my first camera, my first full professional body camera. So I had inherited my first camera, which was a Canon EOS 70D. I inherited it from my late sister who passed away in 2019. And so ever since then, I had, started to delve into the camera and use it a little bit more. I'm like, you know what, why don't I use this for car photography? So I started taking pictures of cars at car meets and stuff, nothing crazy. It didn't really ever amount to much. I just kind of was like, oh, well, let's take some pictures of cars, and it was fun to me. I would mess around, lighting was terrible most of the time because car meets are usually at night, so they're too dark, or they're in the middle of the day and they're way too bright. I had no idea how to use the settings, none of that. So I had used what I knew how to use, right? I didn't even have auto settings. Well, I didn't even know how to use auto settings. That's funny. It sounds stupid because I didn't even know how to use the normal settings. So why wouldn't I just put it on auto? I didn't even know there was an auto mode. So I was messing around with the shutter, all that, learning about that, just to kind of at least get the basics down for about, gosh, I don't even know. It was maybe 4 or 5 months, I think. Realistically, I hadn't even done my first private photo shoot until I think maybe 2 or 3 months into just taking pictures at car meets, and the first private shoot I did was with some friends. They just invited me out. They were like, hey, come take pictures of our cars. And I'm like, okay, why not, right? So that's kind of how I started. I did that first photo shoot. That was at night. So terrible scenario. I didn't really know what to do. I just placed them under street lamps and stuff. Got whatever I could underneath or over top of the car, So used as much light as I could, and then a parking garage at night. It was all right. The photos, a couple of them came out pretty good. But I guess so I'll kind of convert this into my personality in the beginning. My actual personality, right? And it was pretty reserved, honestly. I was nervous. I wouldn't want to talk to people, not really about photography, especially, because I didn't know that much. I didn't have any stake in the game, I didn't really have confidence in myself. Part of this is, because of some of the factors I'm going to talk to you guys about on how to actually improve your business. But we'll get into that in a second. So my personality was not really that fit for photography, a business, making money with that business, none of that. So I had to kind of develop that. I had to develop my personality to even make it into a business. That was kind of the first step. So loud ass diesel truck outside. I hope you guys didn't hear that. Anyways, after that very rude interruption, I'm going to go into the 5 key points about how I personally have developed my automotive photography brand and business and how those have actually helped me. So the 5 main points are that you have to go out, right? You have to there's a little bit of a necessity of talking. That's number 2. And number 3, you have to learn every day. You have to push yourself to learn every day. Number 4, you have to challenge yourself. That kind of goes also every single day. I think you should try to challenge yourself every day. And then number 5 kind of correlates with those other 2 is, kind of being fearless, not necessarily like, oh, I'll do anything, like I'll jump off a mountain, but there's a level of fear that holds everyone back in whatever they're doing, right? Whether that be life or, talking to girls or their business or taking pictures even of people's cars. Like you'd be surprised how you can, in the beginning, you can see someone with like a really nice car and you're like intimidated by them, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna think, oh, well, who is this guy? Who's this little, like, he doesn't know how to take photos. I'm not even gonna, like, that's what you think in your head, right? However, if you just approach them with confidence and show them, hey, I'm learning in photography, you can offer them something. You can be like, hey, I'll take some pictures for free. Like, if you want to use them, you don't have to. But, that kind of shows where you're at, but it also has a little bit of humility to it. You're showing that you're humble. You're not, trying to act like you're something you're not. So that's definitely something that's good, right? Let's rewind a little bit, and I'm going to go into detail specifically on like each point. So back to point 1 is going out. I truly think that this is the number one way that you are going to be able to be out there, right? And like it sounds stupid, like yeah, go out, be out, but you have to be at car events. You have to be at shows. Let me think. Anything that's related around cars, you should be there, whether it's at the track, just your buddies are having a hangout and they're all bringing their sports cars, they're going to the car wash or something. Like go to those things because this is that rapport and the community kind of that you're needing to be around in order to build your market, right? To make that money. So going out kind of, I think that's the first step to really setting yourself out there. You need to be everywhere at the same time, which it sounds dumb, but like the more places you can be, the more people that know your name, the more people you can talk to about your business, the more people you can just practice with their car, like you just tell them, hey, let me take some photos real quick. I'm trying to learn this new strategy, blah, 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 blah. So more than likely, that's going to be the number one step to the marketing, right? Step 2 with building your business is kind of similar to that, right? It's the necessity of talking. Not just of, going out there and talking, but learning how to talk. Something that I struggled with in the beginning, like I said before, was I was like kind of scared and I didn't have confidence in myself. I also didn't, it's not always just sales pitchy, like, don't just be like, oh yeah, I got this, this, and this, and that's gonna make you money. No. A lot of people know when they're being sold to, so like you just need to try to make it seem natural, right? You need to show them, hey, like this is what I do, I'd love to work for you, blah, 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 blah. So kind of a way you can do this is showing that like to actually learn how to talk. I mean, something as simple as like just going and doing it. Like going and talking and feeling awkward is hard. I understand that. And that's exactly how I felt. However, in the beginning stage, that's the number one thing that's going to break you through to the next level, right? Once you learn how to get over that awkwardness, you have no problem with it, right? You have no problem going out there and telling them and being humble and like, and telling them, hey, this is where I'm at and this is where I want to be maybe, So that's kind of really important to develop. You need to be able to develop your talking skills if you don't already have them. You really need that. And then number 3 kind of goes along with something I stated, is learning every single day. Learning every single day can be very vague. It can be like, oh, well, I want to learn something about myself every single day, right? That's very beneficial for your business. Whether it be automotive photography, it be, any sort of business, right? You need to learn something new every day. You need to push yourself to learn every day. because this allows you to break into new barriers. Just kind of like I said with the talking, right? You need to break into these new areas and be able to expand your own knowledge, but also whether it be your business. If you learn something about, oh, this is how I can, make an advertisement better, or this is how, the actual down to like the nitty and gritty of car photography is, that you need to like learn the actual craft. You need to learn how to edit the car, how to edit the ground, or whatever it is, right? How to position the car, how to not position the car, all those kind of things are very beneficial. And if you learn at least one thing, I mean, like, that's very shortcoming, you can easily learn 10 things a day. If you put your mind to it, you can learn 100 things a day, realistically, if you really want to. It's about how much effort and stuff you put in to learning every single day and putting yourself in those situations where you can learn. That's gonna like help you, set yourself apart, because you're always gonna be growing no matter what. You're gonna look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day, and you're gonna be like, you know what? I learned something today, and you're gonna be really happy about that. It's gonna help the other two as well, right? The going out and the talking to people. It's gonna help you with that, because you're gonna start to build confidence in yourself. You're gonna see, oh wow, I'm learning all this stuff. It feels good, right? And I'm not talking like, oh, sit down and read a book, because I get it. People don't like to read books. Some people don't. Some people aren't school people. I'm not. I can tell you that for sure. So, kind of learning those things about yourself, but how you like to learn as well, you're going to start to build that confidence in yourself, and you're going to kind of know how you want to, like what you want to learn about. So that's going to exponentially help your business, just your life too. And the fourth step, kind of related as well. I kind of try to tie these all in together a little bit, because I want to show you guys how they all correlate with each other as well. Number 4 is similar to learning something every day. It's challenging yourself. This isn't necessarily every single day. Of course, learning can be a challenge. So if that is your challenge, then make it your challenge, right? Another challenge could be, working out every single day. Like you don't have to, right? You can be fit without working out every day, but if that's a challenge for you, it's gonna do the same thing as the learning every day, right? It's gonna build confidence in yourself. Like even if it's not fitness, right? Like you're gonna build confidence in yourself when you challenge yourself. So if you go out there and you go and talk to these people with these nice cars, even though you're afraid of that, there's a huge strength inside that brings to you, right? So that helps you build your confidence in that way too, which, corresponds to business, so you have to have that confidence, and you get that by challenging yourself, right? Some of the ways I challenged myself in the beginning were I did traditionally shoot in nighttime scenarios a lot. And when I first started, I didn't even have a tripod. So, trying to find the nuances of how to use the light, how to use very little light and extremely terrible light too, that helps you significantly, because if you can learn how to shoot in bad light, you can shoot in any light, to be honest. It makes it really easy, learning to shoot midday, learning how to combat those shadows, the harsh, bright sky, and then same with the nighttime photos. When you have very little light, you could barely even light up the car, so you got to figure out how to do that. That's that challenge, you know what I mean? Every time you go to a shoot, challenge yourself to try one of those new techniques you learned, right? You might have learned it, you might have written it down, and that's great, but you have to put that to the test. So now you're putting it to the test and you're challenging yourself to learn that. So that's really, really important. So I think I'm gonna go into the next one here, right? Because like I said, they all kind of roll into each other. So this last one is being fearless. I think if you're not afraid, I think it breaks down a lot of barriers internally, right? So I'm gonna correspond these to all the other things, right? If you're afraid of the interaction and the talking with someone, when they have a nice car, that could prevent you from going out in the first place, which is the number one, the first key point of this whole podcast. You need to be able to go out. But if you're afraid of talking to those people, which is number 2, then you're not even gonna go out, right? So then you're already hindering 2 things. And you're missing out the fearless part. So you have to be fearless in the aspect of you want to not be afraid of learning. You want to not be afraid of challenging yourself, because you have to fail. You will fail. I know times where I have completely redone entire shoots. And, like, that's one of those things, like, that could take you, 2 hours, 3 hours, however much time it takes to re-edit, to do all that stuff. So sometimes, like, being fearless in that way, you have to be able to tell them, hey, you know what? I messed up. I'm going to redo it for you, right? Not only is that generous, you're owning up to your own mistakes, but you have to be fearless in that, because otherwise you're not going to be able to tell them. If you're afraid of, oh, they're going to think this or that of me, right? They might, right? You can't control that. There's one thing you cannot control, and it's how other people feel about you. You can try, and you can try to your best to make sure that you're the best person you want to be, right? Which is all we can do. But you need to be fearless, right? You need to challenge yourself every day. You need to go up to those clients that you don't think you can do. You can go up to dealerships and say, hey, this is the service I provide. This is what I want to do for you guys. You need to be able to go up to those big manufacturers. When you see them in person, not just cower away, right? I'm going to kind of relate this to a story. Recently, the last podcast, I talked about the TMR Automobili. Those guys, they flew all the way from Italy. They brought their 1 of 37 Evo rally car. They brought that all the way to Monterey, California. Me and my buddy JW, right? We showed how we're not fearless in this way. We went out of our way and we talked to them. They weren't even extremely confident in their English. However, we went up and we talked to them. We showed them, like, hey, we want to help you guys, blah, blah, blah. Not even with photography. We didn't even make that really that clear at the beginning. At first, it was more like, hey, like, what are you guys doing? How can we help? Because they were trying to unload a car. So we helped them out that night. But that ended up turning into, like, that fearlessness turned into us, being able to shoot that car and to be able to provide that amazing art for them. So that's one of those things, like, that's a direct correlation of how, there was other photographers there. There was plenty. There was maybe 10 to 15 other photographers, videographers there, all taking pictures of this car, seeing these guys around the car. They knew who owned it. They knew who the maker was. But they didn't go up there. That's all I'm saying. So really, like, at the end of the day, all that comes down to is that we were fearless. We went up to them and we didn't care what they thought. It didn't matter. At the end of the day, it didn't matter, because we were trying to get something. We were trying to help them. However, that didn't matter, right? When you don't have to be afraid of them saying no, because that's all it is. It's them saying no. After going over the key points, I kind of want to talk to you guys about how this really isn't just business advice. This isn't photography business advice only. I want you guys to be able to apply this to anything in your life. These 5 things literally can help you in so many ways, right? Whether it be the talking, the going out, right? All this stuff helps you in your own life. You have to be fearless to go out and talk to that girl who you think is out of your league. I think that these things benefit you in everything. It'll help you get a job. It'll help you make more friends. It'll help you, with your personal fitness. Like I said, all that, challenging yourself, learning something, you're going to become smarter, better, faster, and stronger, like the Kanye West song. So in conclusion, I kind of want to talk to you guys about how, obviously none of this is, like, absolute, but I do believe that, like, these are really important foundational steps to help anyone with their photography business or their life. And that, I hope that all you guys try to apply these to your life and that you do see benefits. Try to write these 5 things down every day when you wake up, or even the night before, right? Write it down on a note. And then at the end of the next day, when you're writing your next day out, cross them off. Cross them off if you did them, right? If you feel like you did every single thing on that, then, you don't necessarily have to go out every day. But even if it just means, like, going out and talking to your neighbor, or when you're at the store, like you're at the grocery store, talk to the cashier a quick bit. Like, even if it's just a little bit, that's a way to challenge yourself, to learn, to progress. So if you can do all that stuff, I think you guys are going to be good to go. I think you guys are going to, improve a lot in life. You're going to be more confident and all this. So this is going to be wrapping up the second podcast of the TMR Media show, if you will. This is not story time. I'm going to probably have a couple different segments. This one is more of a practical advice on how to, grow your business and grow your life, honestly. So I hope it helped you guys out, and I hope that you guys keep staying tuned and wanting to learn more. So have a good one, guys. Go like and subscribe.